You stand strong, not because you have people around you, but because you have yourself. And in that, my friend, lies true power. Mastering your emotions is not the act of burying them deep within some frozen vault, pretending they do not exist. That is merely another form of fragility, a brittle shell waiting to be shattered by the inevitable pressure of life. No, mastery is the profound understanding that your emotions are visitors, powerful and often insistent, but they are not you. They are the weather systems passing through the vast landscape of your consciousness. The untouchable person does not become the storm. They become the mountain, immense and unyielding, observing the tempest rage around them, knowing its fury, however violent, is temporary. It will exhaust itself. You feel the lashing rain, the howling wind, the tremors in the earth. You acknowledge their presence, their raw power, but you refuse to be defined by them, or worse, swept away. This is the core discipline, the moment between the spark of feeling and your conscious response. That infinitesimal pause, cultivated through relentless practice, is where your freedom resides. It is in that sacred silence that you choose. Will this anger dictate my words? Will this fear paralyze my action? Will this sorrow drown my resolve? Or will I, the sovereign of this inner realm, decide how this energy shall be channeled, if at all? This mastery transforms raw reaction into measured, potent response. It allows pain to inform you without crippling you, anger to energize without consuming you, joy to uplift without blinding you. You cease being a leaf tossed by every emotional breeze and become the deep root, drawing sustenance even from the harshest conditions. Now consider the empath, the one whose nature it is to feel the currents of the world with such intensity, to resonate with the unseen frequencies of joy and sorrow swirling around them. This profound sensitivity, this capacity to hold space for the unspoken pain of others, is a rare and beautiful light. Yet here lies the profound, often painful paradox illuminated by your title. Why empaths attract people who secretly resent their light? The untouchable empath understands this dynamic not as a curse, but as a fundamental law of the unseen world. That very light, that open-hearted presence, acts like a beacon. It draws those wandering in their own inner darkness, those burdened by unresolved shadows, those whose own light feels dimmed or extinguished. They are drawn initially by warmth, by the promise of understanding, perhaps even healing. But the light of the true empath is also a mirror. It reflects back, often with startling clarity, the aspects of themselves they have neglected, denied, or hidden away. Their own lack of depth, their unprocessed pain, their buried envy, their inability to connect authentically. This reflection is not condemnation, it is simply truth. And for the one unwilling or unable to face their own darkness, this truth becomes unbearable. The very light they sought becomes a source of searing discomfort. The empathy offered feels like an accusation of their own emotional poverty. The empath's resilience in the face of suffering highlights their own fragility. The empath's quiet joy underscores their own inner emptiness. And so, admiration curdles into resentment. Affection twists into passive aggression. The connection they craved becomes poisoned by a silent, corrosive envy. They may seek to dim your light, not through overt malice, but through subtle criticism, veiled mockery, emotional withdrawal, or by burdening you endlessly with their unresolved chaos, hoping to extinguish your flame in the smoke of their own turmoil. This is where the path of the untouchable diverges radically from the path of the merely sensitive soul. The untouchable empath does not dim their light to make others comfortable. They do not absorb the projected resentment, allowing it to fester within as guilt or self-doubt. Instead, they wield their profound perception with ruthless discernment. They recognize the shadow clinging to the one drawn to their light. They see the subtle flinch, the unconscious barb, the draining energy disguised as need. And here, mastery transforms into profound, compassionate detachment. It is the understanding that another's resentment is their burden, their unprocessed shadow, their battle with the reflection they cannot bear. It has nothing to do with your inherent worth or the quality of your light. Your responsibility is not to manage their discomfort, but to protect the sanctity of your own inner flame. This protection is not coldness. It is the highest form of self-respect and, paradoxically, the most potent form of compassion. It prevents you from enabling their avoidance and preserves your energy for genuine connection. It means establishing boundaries not as walls of hostility, but as clear lines of sacred space, a moat around the inner castle, allowing entry only to those who approach with respect for the sovereign within. It means learning the subtle art of non-engagement with the energy of resentment. You do not argue with the shadow. You simply refuse to feed it. You do not absorb its poison. You let it pass by like smoke dissipating in the wind. Your light remains steady, unwavering, precisely because you understand its origin is within you, independent of external validation or attack. The resentful one may rage against the perceived injustice of your untouchable calm, your refusal to be diminished, but their storm cannot breach the mountain. Your inner citadel stands firm. This leads us to the cornerstone of becoming truly untouchable, radical inner sovereignty. Imagine your inner world as a kingdom. For too long, perhaps, you allowed invaders, the opinions of others, the demands of circumstance, the fleeting storms of emotion, the projections of resentment, to breach the gates, plunder your resources, and dictate the laws. To become untouchable is to reclaim this kingdom, stone by stone, decree by decree. It is the conscious, unwavering decision that you are the sole, legitimate ruler of your thoughts, your beliefs, your values, your reactions, and your peace. This sovereignty is not arrogance. It is the deepest humility before the responsibility of your own existence. It means declaring that no external event, no person's judgment, no twist of fate has the inherent power to dethrone you from your own center without your explicit, often unconscious permission. The resentful colleague, the demanding relative, the chaotic world event, they become subjects of your kingdom only if you grant them citizenship. Otherwise, they remain outside the walls, their noise fading into the background hum of existence. Sovereignty demands rigorous self-honesty, knowing your core values so clearly that compromise feels like treason, understanding your true needs so that you are not swayed by every passing want disguised as necessity, recognizing your inherent worth so completely that no external rejection or criticism can shake its foundation. It requires building an inner council of wisdom, drawing from the timeless philosophies, from your own hard-won experience, from the quiet voice of intuition, whose counsel outweighs the clamoring voices of the external mob. When you are sovereign, you govern your reactions with the wisdom of a just ruler. You allocate your energy like a prudent steward, investing it only in domains you truly control. Your actions, your interpretations, your choices. You negotiate with the world from a position of inherent strength, not from a place of desperate need or fearful appeasement. You become unshakable because your center of gravity is firmly anchored within, impervious to the tremors shaking the world outside your gates. The secret resentment of others. It becomes merely intelligence about the landscape beyond your borders, information to inform your diplomatic choices, not a declaration of war you are obligated to fight. Therefore, the path culminates not in isolation, but in empowered connection from the citadel. Becoming untouchable is not about retreating into a sterile fortress of indifference. It is about emerging from your sovereign center into the world with a new kind of power, the power to connect authentically, generously, and safely. When you are anchored in your unassailable inner kingdom, your empathy transforms. It is no longer a porous vulnerability, soaking up every emotional spill. It becomes a conscious choice, a powerful tool wielded with precision and discernment. You can extend your profound understanding, your deep compassion, without becoming enmeshed, without sacrificing your peace on the altar of another's unresolved pain or resentment. You offer presence, not absorption. You offer support, not rescue. You offer light, not fuel for another's shadow. You connect from a place of overflowing abundance within, not from a desperate need to be needed or validated. This is the true magic. The untouchable empath attracts not the resentful shadows seeking to dim their light, but resonant souls who recognize and reflect their own sovereign strength. You begin to draw those who appreciate the light without resenting it, who are drawn to the warmth without seeking to extinguish it for their own comfort. Your boundaries, far from repelling genuine connection, act as a powerful filter, ensuring that those who enter your sacred space do so with respect and a capacity for authentic reciprocity. You become a beacon for resilience, a testament to the possibility of profound sensitivity coupled with unbreakable inner strength.